So I said I would do this reading. I was just doing, you know, I don't know what to call it, daily exploration, just taking notes and whatnot. So this was page 106. This is page 106. Excuse me. I have a bad habit of doing that. It says channeling. The process through which a medium communicates information from spirits and other non-physical beings. They're not there. Cannot see them. They're not physical. Let me grab the other half of this deck and shuffle while I'm talking. Such as angels, deities, or guardian spirits. By entering into a trance or some other altered state of consciousness. I don't know if I would say it's altered state of consciousness. Some people can do it pretty while staying very grounded and rooted. It's just a skill set that some people have. The urge to communicate with the spirit world is also is as old as humankind itself. I'm just hearing land before time. I'm just finding random cards that belong to this deck. So I'm adding them back in as I go. Yeah, just I'm a crazy driver, so don't mind me. Yeah. In primitive cultures, certain individuals, priests, shamans, or medical people, just medical people. They're not EMTs. They're not firemen, women, people. They're not police people. They're just medical people. Would seek out the wisdom of the spirit world. The ancient Egyptians and Romans, as well as early Chinese, Babylon, as well as Tibetans, Assyrians, Celts, all channeled spirits and entities, and holy men and women of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam received divine guidance. That's a lot of people. It's a lot of people to be related to, okay? Big family. Yeah. Divination and healing are forms of channeling, as is possession. So that's what I'm saying. I think when you go into a trance, which is very much a thing, it does make you kind of sick afterwards. It's I hate to use these examples, but it's the best examples that I can find just off the top of my head. So much respect goes towards these individuals, by the way. Okay, so this is like mad. This is like the probably two of the actors that have some of my deepest respect is Joaquin Phoenix and Heath Ledger, because of the Joker roles that they've played and how deeply you have to kind of put out the own fire inside of yourself in order not to get completely lost doing some of the darker roles. There's like American Horror Story. This is kind of like the Queenie portion for me. I feel like I want to know what happens after the 8th, 9th. I want to know what happens. It's like being curious to know what happens after Katrina. Yeah, I just see like this old woman on a porch saying like, what happened? What happened? Like, it's not that she doesn't remember. She literally doesn't know, because maybe they never made that portion. I don't know. Maybe they will. Who knows? But I don't think it always has to do with possession, is what I was trying to say. There's some people who are going to wonder, and then there's some people who kind of just already know. They kind of already know. Divination and healing are forms of channeling, as is possession, when an entity seizes control of an individual. In the Middle Ages, possession was seen as demonic rather than divine. In the 19th and 20th centuries, when spiritualism was at its height, channeling grew in popularity. The Fox sisters, 3 young women from New York, first brought public attention to channeling in 1848, when they announced the arrival of spirits in their seances. It's pretty cool. Our famous medium of the one famous medium of the 19th century was Nettie Colburn, a trance channeler whose spirit guides advised President Lincoln. Interesting. I did not know that. I knew that they had like a Supreme Court, so I don't know why I didn't think that they had like a supreme advisor, but it's like very Jafar, you know what I mean? In a very Monsters, Inc. way, but it's just very scandalous, Mr. President. I don't know if I want to share that. Okay. Yeah, it's very scandalous. I'm not opposed. Not opposed. I just, this is funny to me. It's not funny. It's not pyro. It's just my kind of pie. Okay. Between excuse me, blush moment. Between 1861 and 1863, Mrs. Lincoln called her to the White House to use her skills to advise the president on a wide variety of subjects, advice he was known to have followed. For example, Colburn channeled advice about how Lincoln could raise morale among the Yankee troops. Oh, and her advice worked. It's like going to, I don't know, a tailgating party? Anyone? No? Okay. Anyway. After spiritualism declined in the early 20th century, channeling did not receive widespread attention again until the early 1970s, when Jane Roberts published the Seth books, which were allegedly channeled to her by a non-physical entity called Seth, which I have. I have that book. We'll go over it later. This is the book test, part 3. I'm going to go with that. It's telling me exactly which book. And I'm explaining channeling, which is ancestral wisdom. I'm not giving any specifics. I'm just going with what the book... I'm just going with... All this is Teresa Chung talking, okay? Don't shoot the messenger. Channeling is no longer a hot topic, but Hot Topic is a store. But popular interest remains to this day. Different mediums have different ways of channeling. Sometimes it happens when the channeler falls into a sudden trance or state, or it can be induced. Methods to induce channeling include meditation, prayer, hypnosis, fasting, chanting, dancing, breath exercises, sleep deprivation, and taking hallucinogenic drugs. Different ways of reflecting on yourself. It's just all that's saying, right? Direct voice channeling occurs when another entity or personality takes temporary possession of the channeler's body. Do you want to say that's body jumping, body snatching, skin walking? It's a very interesting skill set that I don't really care to demonstrate. But I do think that direct voice channeling has a lot to do with your voice being a biometric imprint. It is part of your identity. And the way that you choose to talk has somewhat to do with what you heard when you were in utero and somewhat what you were taught. A little bit of both. Even identical twins have just perhaps a very slight difference in the, I forgot what it's called, the iambic pentameter with which they relate. Most definitely. The channeler's voice may or may not change. He or she may communicate through automatic writing, a Ouija board, or similar device, or even sleeper dreams. Physical channeling involves physical effects, such as physical healing, apports, and levitation. There, my friends, is LA place. In the wider sense of the term, channeling can also include intuition, inspiration, and imagination. Ooh. So this is intuition, which is like knowing when, this is healing, right? This is, you have to know where the healing is needed. Can't be a meow meow about it either. This is specifically for women who, according to the CDC, are the ones that need the healing the most. Can't always be all about the hokey pokey. Fun stuff, but you know, that's what LA is for. And then this is the other side, which is, you know, LA. It's her. It's home. Home sweet home, right? So then there's this inspiration and imagination that goes along with like the naked woman who runs through the woods and screams wolf while petting snakes. It's like very strange. Not so much if you are like the skin she's in, or what is that one with Scarlett Johansson? She's this alien. I think she's a Selkie or something. I don't know. Anyway, this says, a number of theories have been put forward to explain channeling. The simplest is that channelers do actually get in touch with the spirit world. Yeah. Please don't freak out. Please don't come after me because I'm just channeling, okay? But yes, we do actually get in touch with the spirit world. And yes, I think it is possible to skinwalk. I think it's possible to do a lot of things that other people would think is like a barren kind of moot point. It's very teal. It's very turquoise. Reanimation has also entered my brain just now, but I'm going to finish reading this and then I'll readdress that idea. The trouble, actually it says, others believe that channelers engage in deliberate fraud, or that is symptomatic of multiple personality disorder. It took me 3 times to say that, so it's possible. Not very probable, though. The view advanced by some psychologists is that channeled entities are not separate entities, but part of a channeler's subconscious that takes on the personality of an entity in order to express itself. I would think that that's true. I would think that if you're an actor, an actress, if you've ever had a moment where you've had to behave in a way that you did not feel like behaving, keep it together when you felt like falling apart, you're probably pretty privy to the same exact buffet of emotions that can occur relatively quickly. It's keeping your head on instead of losing it in public. Many psychics believe that channeling is a skill anyone can learn, and that it shouldn't just be the preserve of professional mediums. It's important to remember that everyone will have a different experience of channeling, and that the insights received may come in any number of different forms. It is up to the individual to translate and interpret. And I think this is the part where I don't want to get lost in translation, so probably do come across as kind of serious or severe sometimes, but that's because it is. This is a responsibility. If somebody came along and said, I have a tool that could help you know what women want. It's that Mel Gibson movie, right? You can get in their heads. can wiggle around like you're a worm and figure out what they're thinking, especially about their passions. Is that something that you would want or something that you wouldn't want? This is the pill, right? This is the red and the the red and the blue pill. Instead of thinking of it as knowing and not knowing, think of it as men and women. Some of them are going to have placebo pills, and some of them are going to have the real thing. Then you have to figure out for yourself, using discernment and discernment alone, because that should be automatically a skill set. Can you pick through this sea of minds, of other minds, and tell me who amongst them has that fire? Because when people are dead, you incinerate them, right? So they're just ashes to ashes and dust to dust. But then to breathe life back into them, is life dead? Is it cold? Because if I feel my forehead and it's cold, or any part of another human and it's cold, I think you're dead. You have to know how to breathe fire to resuscitate self and others. And that's what channeling is. It's filling up the empty space between here and here. It's reading all of the information passing between those 2 points, not necessarily in a consecutive order, but more so for intensity, for location of a specific item, if that's what you're scanning for an energy signature, a specific tidbit of information like it was talking about. All of those things are available. So yeah, I think that's why probably people who really do understand channeling, mediumship, or any type of psychic ability, they understand that it's not this doesn't belong to any one of us. It's just out there. You've either begun to understand how to harness it, or you've not, which is also all right. I'm going to stop here. This is page 106. We're at 18 minutes flat.